Why look at my hair?
Why?
I don't know.
It looks good, actually.
Okay.
It's like fluffy.
Fluffy. I'm about to say it's hot.
Fluffy. Oh, hi. What? Hey guys, it's Lily. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Long time no see.
Yes.
Where have you been?
Not in videos.
Jack hasn't been in a video in a while.
Yep.
Wait, actually, no. You were in the baby video.
Yeah, but that wasn't like we did a video together. That
It's true. I was pranking you.
Playing a video and...
I've been wanting to do this video since we got married, but we haven't had time, or we just haven't gotten around to it. I said, like, I think it was in our either like week of wedding video or some video, I don't remember, that we were gonna come out with our story about kind of all the craziness that happened before our wedding, like the day before our wedding. And we never got around to it, but now we're here today doing that. I didn't really get all dressed up or anything because I didn't feel like it, and my scalp is itchy. I really don't believe there's anything else that could have made this happen except for God. Like, there's no way that we could have done it by ourselves. So I'm gonna start because it all started with me, and then it goes into like like us together. Oh my gosh, stop touching it. We got married in May of this year, 2021. It was May 21st. May 20th was our rehearsal dinner. So basically, I'll kind of walk you through our day, but I tried to film as much as I could like the week of my wedding, so I'll link that video. But basically, like, I'll kind of walk you through what happened this day. So my best friend was in town from Florida, and she slept over at my house on Wednesday. So our wedding was on Friday. So she slept over here on Wednesday. On Thursday, our rehearsal dinner day, we woke up, we got Starbucks, and then we just got the apartment kind of ready because once I was coming back to the apartment, we would be married. We like made the bed and everything. We put like flower petals on the bed. And then Kira, my sister-in-law, his sister, picked us up, and then we went to go get our nails done and our toes done, and some people met us there, some of my bridesmaids. So we went and got all that pampering done, and then we went out to lunch at a Mexican restaurant. It was really good. Oh, we went to Kroger and got some like last minute things at like our grocery store. And then the Airbnb, so we were staying at an Airbnb for the night before the wedding, and then the night of our wedding night, we were staying at this Airbnb, and that we booked it like a really, really far in advance, and it looked really nice. The pictures looked nice. The ratings were really high. So, but the Airbnb was about like 40 minutes away from like where I lived. So we did all of this stuff, like getting our nails done and stuff in that area. So then our rehearsal dinner was at 5:30. Yeah, it was at 5:30. We wanted to get to the Airbnb by 4. So we got to the Airbnb by like 4-ish, like 4:15. So this is kind of where everything happens. So we get there, and first of all, like at first glance, the neighborhood wasn't super nice, but I was like, okay, whatever. I don't really care about that. From the outside looks, like the house didn't look super, super nice. It kind of just looked like it wasn't well taken care of, but whatever. We walked in, and the first thing I noticed was that it smelled like smoke, which was kind of gross. The first thing that you see is like a staircase, and the stairs were like all wood, and they were like looked super old, and like there was cracks in the wood and stuff like that, so it just was not a great first impression. Then I walked in, and mind you, so my best friend that slept here on Wednesday, Jade, her husband was here with her as well, and so he actually went to the Airbnb first. So because he obviously wasn't getting his nails and toes done, he went to the Airbnb first and like unlocked it and everything. So he was already there. So when we walked into the living room, and there was like a half-eaten pizza box sitting there on the coffee table. It didn't look super nice, and then there was like kind of trash on the ground, and I was like, what is going on? So I at first thought it was Jade's husband's, like, I thought he got pizza or something. So it didn't really, like, at first I was like, oh, whatever. Well, then I come to realize, like, he's in there and that was not his pizza box. I go into the kitchen and there's, like, dirty dishes, like, sitting in the sink. There's, like, trash. Like, the trash hadn't been taken out. So there's, like, trash kind of everywhere. It looked like there was, like, a party that happened and, like, no one cleaned up. So I was just super confused. So then I go upstairs. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Like, the cleaning people, the person who owns Airbnb, the cleaning people can come back in and clean it up. Well, then I go upstairs and there's 3 bedrooms. And again, didn't look super nice, did not look like the pictures. So I had to get ready. It was already like 4:30 by this time when everything was happening. Or maybe even like around 5. And I go into the bathroom because I really had to go to the bathroom. First of all, the toilet wasn't even flushed. So there was like old pee like in the toilet. Went to the bathroom and then I was like, I couldn't find towels because I asked the Airbnb girl if we needed to bring towels or if she had towels provided. And she said, yeah, we have towels provided. So I didn't bring them, obviously. So I looked in the shower and there's like towels, like a pile of towels, like in the shower in the bathtub. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like getting really mad at this point. I'm like really frustrated. All my bridesmaids are there at this time and they're all like, this is gross. So some of my bridesmaids went into the bedrooms. There was like bugs on like the windowsills. It just looked dusty and the beds weren't that nice. But the beds were made. That was the weird thing about this whole thing, is that all the beds were made. So it looked like someone had made the beds, but there was like trash and stuff and it was just really weird. One of my bridesmaids like looked at the sheets and there was like stains on the sheets. Disgusting. They were all just kind of like, this is gross. Do you want to stay here? First of all, I hadn't even gotten ready for my rehearsal dinner. So like my makeup I had no makeup on. My hair wasn't done. I literally was like in sweatpants and sweats. Like I was not done at all. So I'm like over here like doing my makeup in the bathroom. All these girls are like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is kind of gross. Like, we don't really want to sleep here. And I didn't want to sleep there, especially on my wedding night. Because, like, the day before my wedding, whatever. But the night of our wedding, ew. I wouldn't want to do that. I wanted their first wedding night to be, you know, a good memory. I was freaking out. I was doing my makeup and I was, like, crying. I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, you guys just figure it out. So my bridesmaids, Grayson and Lily, who's not even my bridesmaid, she sang at our wedding. They like took initiative and they like started calling hotels and I was like, just book us a hotel room. I don't even care. Like, we'll figure everything out later. Just book a hotel room. They ended up booking actually a hotel that was closer to the venue. So that was nice. 2 rooms. So each room had 2 queen size beds. So everyone was kind of sleeping together. And then there was like couches in the rooms. So they were pull out couches. So it fit everyone because I had 2 extra people that were sleeping with us in the Airbnb that weren't my bridesmaids. Everyone had a place to sleep and stuff like that, and we don't care to share beds. That's what we were gonna do in the Airbnb anyway. That whole thing was like really hectic, and I literally got ready in like 20 minutes, I think. My hair, I didn't even do my hair. I would put my hair in a ponytail, which if you see, I'll insert a picture. It's cute, like I looked cute, but my hair wasn't like curled or I didn't even straighten it or anything. I just put it in a sleeked ponytail and called it a day. At least my outfit was cute and my makeup looked decent and I had cute earrings that made up for it. So I was already frazzled. Classic Lily, I'm late to everything. I was late to my rehearsal, but the girls were like, it's fine, like don't worry about it. But I was freaking out because we only had an hour at this venue. We only had the venue booked for an hour to do like the rehearsal. But everyone was like, the rehearsal takes like 20 minutes. Like, seriously, it's not that big of a deal. I was getting confirmation text saying, just to confirm that your venue's booked at 5:30, that's your rehearsal time. And I was like, yes, like I confirmed everything. So we get there and it's like 5:38. Everyone was there, but I couldn't find the wedding coordinator. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, where's the wedding coordinator? So I called her because my wedding coordinator actually... Jack doesn't like my story.
No, I'm just tired.
He's yawning. But my wedding coordinator, she's actually at her son's graduation that day. So we had another girl coordinating it, she was also at the wedding, like helping and stuff like that. So it was fine. But she wasn't there. So I called my wedding coordinator and I was like, hey, I don't know where she's at, but we're here and no one's here. And she's like, we agreed it was at 6 o'clock. I was like, girl, we planned this for like a year. And it's always been 5:30. Always. And we had like multiple meetings. And I had a screenshot of one of those text messages that said like, confirm that your venue's booked at, or your rehearsal's at 5:30. And I like screenshot it and I was like, this is supposed to be at 5:30. Well, luckily the girl was already on her way. So she got there around like 5:45. I was late to my rehearsal dinner, but not even really late because it was supposed to be at 6. And luckily our reservation at dinner was until 7. So at least like we had time and stuff like that. So this all building up is like a mess. I was like, I don't even know what to do here. Like, I'm feeling attacked right now. What's going on? Finally, we get to the rehearsal. It's totally fine. Like, the rehearsal goes great. And then we get to the rehearsal dinner. And I'm, like, super excited. Everyone's there. We're, like, having fun. They figured out the hotel stuff. We got that figured out. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to chill and relax now. So here comes the God story. We went to Tahiti for our honeymoon. I vlogged everything. I have 2 videos about it. You can check it out. It was amazing. With everything going on with COVID, it was really confusing because in May was when everything kind of started to open up. Tahiti just opened up 2 weeks before we went. So like they just opened. So there was a lot of paperwork and documents that we had to like do and sign to get into Tahiti. Thankfully, our travel agent was like really helpful with that and like kind of guided us through it. So with that, we had to do a bunch of different like e-signatures and stuff like that. And we had to like do a bunch of documents online and then we put it in like a file basically. We had to get COVID, we had to get tested. Obviously, we had to get like antibody tested and like we put all those like documents and files into like this e-file online so that we could show it at the airport to get in. The only thing is that most of the stuff that we had to sign was in French. So even because we were going to the French Polynesia, everything was in French because it's on their website. Everything was like French, so we couldn't really read a lot of the stuff. What was the thing that you had to like submit?
It was like basically a form where they had all your information and that they knew all the stuff. Well, I forget what it was called, but basically they had your information and they knew who you were and when you were coming and they planned it all out so that they know that you were going to be in the country since it's small.
Yeah, so you had to like set this whole thing up, like a profile up basically, and then once you set it up, they would send you another email to like confirm it. So you would have to click in this email like confirm, send approval basically. So like they would have to approve your like profile to go. I obviously like went through all my emails a lot and like went into that one email after I set up my profile and it was all in French. So like I couldn't read anything, but there was like this blue button that said, and I just like clicked on the blue button because it looked like in English, you know, it looked like an accept or something, or complete. So I already like filled out on my profile, but they sent you another email after to then say like complete profile or whatever. Because they have to accept it. They have to go through all your documents and everything, and they have to accept your documents to make sure they're valid to get into the country. They sent me over an acceptance letter or an acceptance email. So I was like, oh my gosh, awesome. But then my travel agent was like, sometimes it takes a few days like after you submit it. So if you don't get it like an acceptance email in a couple days, like it's okay. These all restrictions and stuff happened like a week before we were supposed to go. So like this was all really new. So it was really hard to like keep track of everything because there's a lot of things changing. So this like acceptance like profile thing was like all new. I got mine, but she was like, it's okay if he doesn't get his because sometimes, you know, it takes a little longer. So he still hadn't gotten his acceptance email. I wasn't really worried about it because she said it was going to take a couple days. We're sitting at our rehearsal dinner.
When do I get to talk?
We want to talk now?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is when I come into the story.
Okay.
This is where I come in. She asked me like, hey, have you gotten your acceptance letter yet? And I said, no, they hadn't sent it to me. And she's like, can you please check your email? And I was like, yeah. So I'm shuffling through my email. I looked at her emails and my emails, and we had the same email, but she got an email after a certain email, and it was the complete, like the blue button to complete your email or your profile, and I hadn't done that yet. And I was like, oh crap.
Because it was all in French. So
it was all in French. I couldn't read it. I mean, I thought, because when we first did it, I was the one to complete all my stuff first. So I just thought that I did it right. I ended up going to the bathroom because I had to go to the bathroom because I got really nervous. And then I completed my profile.
So you finally hit the button.
And I got a very quick dismissal letter. So it said your application has been dismissed. And I was like, oh my. I was like, well, crap. So I go back. I kind of like walk like semi into like the room, and I noticed she's not there. And I was like, she's probably in the bathroom. So I went back to the bathroom, and of course, here she comes walking out, and I'm like, hey, I need to talk to you. So I pull her outside, and I'm like, hey, my application got dismissed. And she was like, she put her head down. She was like, oh my gosh. She didn't freak out at me or anything like that. She wasn't mad. She was, I mean, obviously discouraged a little bit, but she didn't get mad to the point where I felt like I was a burden or something. So we told our travel agent and stuff like that, and she's freaking out at me like, what the heck are you doing? Why did you forget? And I'm like, I don't know. Couldn't read it. You know, we tell her, she's like, okay, I'll see what I can do. And I think she was on vacation.
No, not yet. She was about to leave on
vacation.
vacation.
About to leave for vacation. So then I just look at her and I'm like, okay, I literally don't know what to do but pray right now. She was like, okay. So I'm like, we just need to pray that it will be all figured out. So we're praying and people are staring at us as they're walking into Bravo.
I didn't even care at this point.
We were just praying. I'm like, please God, just do what you want. Do what your will, whatever is in your will, and just let us know. We go back and we were fine. Nobody knew what was going on. We played it off pretty well.
Yeah.
We gave speeches and la stuff you do at a rehearsal dinner.
In my head, I was just like, you know what, Lord? Like, I was just like, I'm just going to give it to you because I can't do anything at this point. So, like, that's why I wasn't freaking out, because I was just like, I just can't. Like, this is my wedding. Like, this is Satan, literally, trying to mess up our wedding. So, whatever your will. Like, if we were going to have to plan something the day of our wedding or the day after our wedding, like, if we're going to have to buy a plane ticket the day after our wedding and hop on a quick flight, like, whatever.
We were content with not going. Obviously, we wanted to go, but, like, we came to the place in our mind where we're like, okay, well, if we're not supposed to go, we're not going, blah, blah, blah. So, eventually, our travel agent sends a text to Lily and says, hey, have Jack call this number. So, she's like, hey, make sure you call this number. And I'm like, okay, I will. So, I get in the car, and I call this number, and, of course, you need international calling. And I'm like, well, I can't buy international calling right now because
I have a plan.
I have to get a plan for that, and it's just a lot of money. So I was like, well, frick, what am I going to do now? So then I'm like asking my cousins, I'm like, hey, do you have international calling? And they're like, no, Jack. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. Lily, I text Lily, I'm like, hey, I can't call. I don't have international calling. So one of our cousins, Taylor, she was her and her husband were literally just on a trip to Aruba, right? Something like that. And she had international calling.
Because her parents bought it for her.
She was in the car with Lily and Kira at this point. They were at Target, and I'm like, but the thing was, it was only for a month, and it was like over a month when they went to Aruba. So Noah was like, I don't know how she still has international calling, because this was like over a month ago. I'm like, well, I don't care. So anyway, so we go to Target. So I take her phone and I call, and I'm like, hey. I end up getting on the phone with this dude, and he was like, hi, how can I help you? And I'm like, sir, unfortunately, I messed up my application to go to Bora Bora. Is there anything we could do? I'm like, I have all the paperwork. I have all the information. The guy was saying, well, I don't think your application's valid because you needed to get another COVID test.
Yeah, because there was like rules that came through after we already got, I got accepted. Because his didn't get accepted when mine did. There's like another rule that came through or something. Keep going.
So, yes, like she said, he was telling me that they just made this new thing that within 5 days before you leave, you have to get a COVID test and it has to be negative. And I'm like, well, that wasn't what we were told because we got antibody tests. And he's like, yeah, that's good, but you need this COVID test. And I'm like, what is he talking about? We were never told any of this. So I'm like, okay, well, thanks for helping, blah, blah, blah. Not really helping at all. But, so I give Lily the phone. I'm like, it's not going to work. And she's like, can you just call back one more time? I'm like, sure. So I call back and I'm like, look, dude.
My favorite part.
I was like, okay, here's the deal. My wife, or future wife at this point, she got hers accepted and she never did this COVID test. He's like, oh, well, do you want me to compare your guys' applications to see, like, what went wrong? And I'm like, yeah, I literally have everything that we were supposed to do. I literally just forgot to click one button. And then now we're in this mess. And he was like, okay, well, let me pull up your application. He pulls it up, and I'm just waiting. It's like the Jeopardy song. Do, 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 do. Anyway, he's like, oh, yeah, she doesn't have the COVID test. He's like, wait. You know what? I'm just going to go in and accept it. And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, yeah, he's like, I'll just accept it for you. And I was like, can you, like, do that now so that I know, like, it's accepted? And he was like, I literally just clicked accept. He's like, when are you getting married? And I said, I'm getting married tomorrow. He was like, when are you guys going to be in Bora Bora? And I said, we're planning on in, like, the next couple days. That's when our flight leaves. He's like, okay, well, we'll see you soon in Bora Bora. So then I pull up my email, and it had accepted on the application. And I tell her, and she gets out of the car and falls on the ground and just is weeping. But she was weeping out of excitement and thankfulness that, like, what God did in that moment. Like, literally, I don't think people understand, like, what that was for us, because everything we had endured in our engagement, everything that went up and down, the living situation, her in school, working. That's just the short story of it all. Like, that literally was like, God just was like, he like basically just gave us a big hug and said, I got you. Like, that's what it felt like. It was just overwhelming peace. And it was just so like,
we worked so hard for like that.
And I literally forgot to click one button.
I know.
Like, that's literally why we were in this mess. We had an Airbnb as well. Ours wasn't trashed. In fact, the lady was there, and she like greeted us and was like, hey, I want to show you around the house and stuff like that, and was super kind. It was super clean. We didn't have any issues. So she's like, which one of you is getting married? And I was like, I am. And she's like, oh, well, I hope you just have a blessed marriage. And I'm like, wow, you're so nice. So anyway, but I go back to with my groomsmen. So I had my two of my groomsmen were my cousins, Caleb and Noah, and they were in the car, and we went and got some Chick-fil-A shakes to celebrate.
You like, did? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did. He's like, bro, let's go get Chick-fil-A. I'm like, let's go get Chick-fil-A. You know, it was super good. But I go back and I tell my groomsmen, and I was like smiling ear to ear with this whole thing, and my groomsmen were like, Jack, we didn't even know that was going on. And I was like, yeah, we did a good job of hiding it. And they're like, yeah, we thought everything was great with you two. One of my friends was like, we thought you guys just wanted to be alone, so you guys just kept leaving and stuff like that. And
I didn't know that.
I was like, no, that's not it. But
yeah, we were crying.
Yeah, and then after that, I went to bed because I was.
Did you get sleep?
No.
I got a lot of sleep that night.
I was just so like amped and ready for like everything to go down because I was just. This is going off topic. We don't have to get into this. But basically, I went shopping with my friends, and I got, like, glasses, I got cologne, I got, like, all these different things. Like, I was like, oh, I'm getting married. Let me just spend money. Spend money.
Spend so much money. So, to end, I went back to the hotel, and I was like, I gotta tell everyone. Crazy thing about the hotel is that we got the 2 rooms, obviously, but the reason why I wanted to get the Airbnb is so that I didn't have to worry about, like, packing up all my stuff in the morning of the wedding and then, like, having to bring it all to the venue and then having someone to put all my stuff in the car and take it to, like, the hotel that we were staying at, which really, in reality, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. The cool thing is the hotel that we stayed at, I asked the front desk people, I was like, I'm getting married tomorrow, and obviously we're staying 2 nights now, but I was wondering if, like, we could just keep our same room, because technically we only booked for 1 night. As of right now, like, the girls only booked the 2 hotel rooms for 1 night, and I was like, can I book one of the hotel rooms that I'm staying in for 2 nights and then just keep that one? So they were like, well, technically you have to, like, check out of this one and then have to check into another one. And I'm like, I really don't want to do that. Like, can I please just keep the same room? Because we were there so late, the manager was like, you know what, if you just go and book a hotel room right now on your phone, and then once it comes through, I can put in the notes that, like, you guys want this room, the same room that I was staying in, so that you don't have to, like, worry about getting all your stuff and moving it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that'd be so, like, nice. They ended up doing that for us, and we just had to check out in the morning and then check back in at night after we got married, and we checked into the same room. And then the hot tub and pool was supposed to close at 10. For some reason, the manager that was there that night was like, I'm gonna keep it open until 11. So we were able to like go in the hot tub and everything, and like all my bridesmaids, we were sitting in the hot tub and I was like telling them the whole story about what happened that night. It was like way better because the Airbnb that we stayed at didn't have a hot tub or anything. I got to relax and like enjoy that the night before, and then we did face masks and everything, and I have that on my YouTube, on that video, but we did face masks and we all hung out in like the same hotel room and talked and stuff like that, and I gave them their little like presents for being my bridesmaids, and then I went to bed. I ended up going to bed at like 12 or something like that, and then I went to sleep. I think I took melatonin, but I went to sleep, I knocked out, and then I woke up at 6. So that's a decent amount of sleep for your wedding night. Yeah, it's just crazy because the events that happened, the things that took place, I just feel like would not have happened without God. Like, there's no way, because with, first of all, being able to call that person, and somehow our cousin was in the car with me, like, we wouldn't have even needed to drive with her, but somehow we were in the car with her. God knew, like, I need to be in the car with her. And then, like, the guy answering at, like, 10 o'clock our time. I don't even know what time that is in Tahiti.
That's like 3 o'clock theirs.
Oh,
4 o'clock theirs. So that's
I guess it worked out.
Time.
That actually worked. And then, yeah, even that, like, if it would have been the same time zone, they probably would have been closed. And just everything that happened, like, there's no way it wouldn't have worked if God wasn't on our side. And then, like, all the hotel stuff and stuff like that. God was like, let me just throw in a little bit of sprinkle of joy with, like, the hot tub being open.
Sprinkle of joy.
Later. And then we ended up having our wedding day, obviously. And then we went back to the hotel. And that hotel was pretty nice. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Has anything happened to you that's crazy like that before? Or if you're married, do you have a crazy marriage story, or like the day of your wedding crazy story or something like that? Let me know. Love to hear your stories. Follow us on our Instagrams. Mine is _Lily Allen. And
Jackson Allen 20.
Even though he's 23 now. 2. But yeah, so make sure to subscribe if you have not already. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you guys. Bye. They look like Doctor Strange. Bye.